Hey all, welcome back, or welcome back to me. I'm back, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Korea was awesome. I'm still kind of full of the feels and honestly just so floored by the sheer quantity of prayers I saw answered in such a short time. Thank you for everybody who kept me in thought and prayer during that time, and also thank you to everybody who helped to celebrate the release of Air of Light from afar. I would be lying if I said that my writing journey is going to go unaltered by everything that I experienced over the past 6 weeks. It won't. I think some very real changes are ahead for me, but honestly, that's more of a newsletter thing. So if you are curious about that side of my journey, what my adventure in Korea looked like, how it impacted me and the writing side of my life, but also the personal side of my life, I will drop the link in the description below. Go to the website, subscribe to the newsletter. My Cloudwalkers are in on all of that, and I would love for you to be on that team. I'm also hoping to do another secret podcast episode soon, which is also Cloudwalkers only. Just saying. But let's talk about writing. So if you're here on YouTube and not really on my Instagram, you might not know that the past 6 weeks have marked more exciting news than just the release of Air of Light, although that did happen. Wow, that did happen. But last week also we celebrated the title reveal of my second contribution to the Blood of Kings Legends collection, and the title is, drumroll please, Son of Embers. If you have read Air of Light, that title might already tip you off to who that book is about. I will not say explicitly at this point, but if this were codenames and I had to give you a clue, I would use the word adorkable. And that's all I will say about that. Fun fact, I actually totally forgot about the title reveal. I was supposed to post about it on Thursday. That was my day. And it was Thursday night. I was hopping all over the city doing stuff and remembered, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to post today. So there I was in my hostel at like midnight or 1 in the morning or something ridiculous, canvaing frantically. And I did manage to throw something together in time. Was it my best reel? Okay, maybe not, but did it exist? Yes. It's also kind of weird for me to be talking about like the release of Air of Light and realizing that people have been reading it. I have been lugging around my personal copy, which was really cool because it allowed me to get signatures from everybody. Look at that. Come on, so fun. And I also now have a bunch of sick pictures of Air of Light from all over and from really cool places in Korea. If you're curious about that, check it out on my Instagram. Don't know why I'm pointing at the top corner of the screen because I'm not sure that I can do an Instagram link here. But it is weird because it just feels like a bit of a blip in time, and being among non-English speakers, I never really was appealing to my target audience, people who would actually read it. So it's weird to think like, oh, people have been reading it. But I've been really encouraged by the feedback I've received since getting back. Someone recently told me that they really saw God working in it. And that is honestly just like the best thing that I could ever hope to hear. If you haven't read Air of Light yet, I hope you do. And I do hope that it encourages you in some way. And if you do enjoy, feel free to let Amazon know. But a writer's work is never done. So I returned this week and I am already in full out deadline mode for Son of Embers, which, yes, is the book that I lost so much of in that saving incident over the summer. I have heard, I don't know where I heard this, but I have heard that giving yourself a minimum of 6 weeks in between finishing a rough draft and starting revisions is actually ideal and really helpful. Now that I've been kind of forced to do that, I've discovered some things which I will share with you. I am really grateful that I got that feedback in advance of when I left. I knew I wouldn't be editing a manuscript during my travels. I just knew that that was not going to happen. But getting the feedback in advance allowed me to do a little bit of soft writing, but mostly it just meant that I'm not starting cold now. I'm not seeing the feedback for the first time and having to implement it immediately. I've had time to kind of let it marinate in there and to warm up to this next stage of the process. It also means, I think, that I am saving myself from a lot of unnecessary edits. Back in the summer, when I was frantically trying to meet my deadline, I had a lot of concerns about the story, a lot of things that I thought were huge problems, and I submitted to my editor while I had this like big revision plan already kind of cooked up, this knee-jerk panicked revision plan. Like, I know there are all these problems, but don't worry, when I revise, I'll cut this and slash this and smash these things together, etc., etc. Funnily though, when I got my feedback in September, I realized that my editor did not see the same concerns that I did. And a lot of the things I thought were huge problems, she was like, this actually isn't that much of an issue. I'm more concerned about this. Which just goes to show that you can't always trust that like knee-jerk editing instinct when you're very, very close to a story and still in the drafting headspace. In that space, we are just so close to the story, so close to the problems, that I think they can sometimes seem bigger or more significant than they are. Moral of the story, if you can give yourself that minimum of 6 weeks, but ideally more in between rough draft and revisions, do it. If you are in that kind of post-rough draft panic space where all you can see are problems, don't panic. Those problems might not actually be as significant as they look right now, or there might be a bigger problem that you need to resolve that will actually solve all of those things. And finally, as much as we as writers joke and laugh and talk a lot about times when we write something we think is really good and then realize it's bad, my experience is actually often the opposite. Sometimes what you write is better than you thought it was, but you can't see that right away. Giving yourself that time and space to kind of let it sit, not touch it, not think about it, and come back later, for me, often reveals strengths in my story that I didn't know were there. Sometimes you can't recognize those until you've given yourself that space to let the issues and the strengths kind of settle down into their proper positions and their proper proportions. It just gives you better perspective to see where the real problems are so that you don't accidentally wipe out all the good stuff when you're frantically trying to fix the bad. Don't be surprised if your work surprises you in a positive way. That is my 2 cents on that. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, don't forget to spend some time in the clouds today.